Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, I am going to talk about ED. Yeah, he's my co-host today. He doesn't talk much. But yeah, in this video, we are going to work on Deathstroke. Yeah, what y'all think? Y'all can't see it because I put a smiley face right over it. I wanted to save the final product for the final review, which will be at the end of this two-part series of Deathstroke helmet. And this is part 1 where I actually build the helmet, and then in part 2 I'm going to paint it. So yeah, I hope you guys dig the video. Say hello to ED. ED's not talking to me today. He's giving me the silent treatment, but that's okay. I don't really care. Only losers talk to mannequin heads, and I don't always talk to ED. So I guess that makes me a part-time loser. So what I've already done so far is I've taken some poster boards and I've cut them out into like scrap pieces and taped them to ED so I can get this shape that I want. And right now it's starting to resemble Deathstroke. I ran out of high-tech template maker, so I'm using some grocery bags, which works just as good. And then I'm going to wrap ED with some high-grade duct tape. And then I'm going to draw out my lines, get the basic design of what Deathstroke should look like. And so far, this is what I think it looks like. And it's looking pretty nifty. I've already cut out all my patterns, and I'm going to take it off of ED, and I'm going to transfer these patterns over to some poster board paper. This will make it a lot easier for me to transfer over to some craft foam. And I use 5mm craft foam. Now I'm going to skip the whole assembly part and go straight to this final product, which I'm not very happy with. It's really tight at the nose and it's pressed up against my mouth, and the ears flare out, so it looks really funky. So it's time to go back to the drawing board. I get a lot of comments of people saying that I make things look so easy, but it's the power of editing that makes everything look easy. I do make mistakes, and sometimes it takes a couple attempts to get it right. I'm going to take this nappy helmet and I'm going to cut it all up and basically reverse engineer it, and hopefully I can come up with some patterns that actually work. I guess the moral of this whole illustration is to not give up and just keep doing it until you get it right. And when I'm cutting up this old helmet, I'm trying to make sure or keep in mind what fit, what didn't fit, so I can go ahead and make my adjustments onto the new templates. So right now I know where the faceplate is actually going to sit onto the back half, and then I know that the nose actually needs a little more space there, so I'm going to add a little more material to some of these edges so that it fit my head a little bit better, so it don't flare out so funky like. I went ahead and cut out all the details on the faceplate, and now I'm cutting out the center part of the head, the top part, which I actually made one piece because originally it was 2-piece. So keep in mind when you're cutting out the faceplate that the mouth area and the nose actually connects, and you have to cut that in an angle. But as for the rest of the faceplate, you can cut everything in a straight 90-degree cut. And I decided to cut the eyes out in an angle. For the thingy on the side of his head, you want to cut this out in an angle, but you want to make sure that the angled bevel's inward from the outside, just like that. Just to give it some slack so where you can glue it down. I took my wood burner and I burned the eyebrow area and this part right here around the nose and the mouth, because that's actually a straight cut area. I guess it's a straight fold, and you want to make sure you're doing this on the inside of the mask and not the outside. Let's take another look at our template. This is much more simplified than originally, and here's a shot of the faceplate. Now I'm going to apply all my glue on the indention on the side of his head. I'm gluing just the edge, and you'll see later on in the video where I'm going with this. I'm gluing the edge of the nose and the mouthpiece, but for the rest of the faceplate, I'm going to glue on top of it. Then I'm going to sand down the areas that I burnt, and I'm going to apply some glue to that so it'll stick. And while I'm waiting for this glue to set, I'm going to assemble the back half of the helmet, which is the side and the top of the dome. And then, yeah, you're going to take it easy on this. And eventually you're going to have something that looks like this.
Now since I made the top center one piece, I'm going to need to get that roundness back. So I'm going to heat it up with my heat gun, and then I'm going to stick it on top of ED and try to get some of that shape back. But once I get everything glued together, I'm going to apply some more heat anyway. So I'm going to move along to working on the faceplate. I'm going to start with the mouth area, and then I'm going to stick the nose bridge together. And then you should have something that looks like this, which kind of looks like Minnie Mouse had a Transformer baby or something like that. And now we got this little flap thing, which I'm going to do is I'm going to push it in and I'm going to stick it right back on itself, but on the other side. And you should have this indention looking thingy that looks kind of cool. Once I get all that glued, I'm going to stick this little pie thing that I cut out earlier, and this is going to start to look like a faceplate. Then I'm going to go back and double check and make sure everything is all nice and glued itself into place. Should have something that look like this. And now it's time for the tricky part. Got to stick the front plate to the back of the helmet. Just take it nice and easy, and before you start to commit to pressing everything in place, you just kind of want to like dab it on there, you know. And if it doesn't look good, then pull it back out and put it in the right spot, and then once it looks good, then push it all in together, just like that. So far so groovy, and I'm starting to really dig this second version of Deathstroke version 2.0. Now it's time to test this sick mug on my own mug, and yeah, it was kind of loose this time. Go figure, the first time was too tight, this time was too loose. So I'm gonna use my heat gun. I'm gonna try to get some formation into place and see if I can get some areas to shrink down, which didn't really shrink down too much. So I ended up cutting off a piece of the pie, just like that. And then I'm going to glue everything back together, and hopefully this should close some gap and make things fit a little more snug. Now that I got all that, it's time to cut some accents out. This is going to go onto the side of the head, which I am reusing material from the old helmet, which, you know, you don't want to waste it. You know, cosplayers out there, they're desperately hungry for these craft foam, and we don't want to be wasting it. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to take a little thin strip of craft foam, and I'm going to stick it onto the back where the seam kind of meets, because I don't want the seams to split on me when we're putting it on, or when I got some big-headed fool trying to test on my helmets. Now I'm going to apply some heat and use my fingers and do some magic trick with it. I get some of this curvatures in here on the brow and the, I don't know, just make it look more aggressive. So far, so groovy. Well, this video is getting kind of long and your attention span just can't take it no more. So I'm going to cover the painting in the next video.
Hey guys, I hope you guys dig the build process of my Deathstroke helmet. Make sure you guys click right here to watch part 2 of Deathstroke, the painting process. And then click right here to watch some other videos. I don't know. But definitely, yeah. I'll see you guys here in a little bit.